Hi, I'm Dr. Natasha Wilkes from High Performance Vets. I want to talk to you about the Income Accelerator program. The biggest frustration I find that veterinarians have in practice is their income. And I get it, I was exactly the same. I never knew how to negotiate my salary. I didn't even know what I was being evaluated on. I assumed it was because I had good clinical skills and I had good surgical skills and I was great with clients, but I didn't know how to translate that into negotiating my salary. And I remember when I was probably about 8 years after graduating and I was working in practice and I was told you have to generate this amount of turnover to justify your income. And I was very indignant. I was like, how dare you use figures to evaluate me? How can I only be worth this amount of money? How is my worth just determined by how much I turn over? What about my skills? What about the relationships I form with clients? What about everything else? But then I sat down and I thought about it. And I thought, okay, instead of this as being a negative, this can be a positive. And I started to pay attention to what I was charging and how much I was generating each shift. And it was like a light bulb came on for me. And it made me realize this is something tangible because your skills can be intangible at times. Your relationship with clients can be intangible, whereas figures are very tangible. You can take your figures to your employer and you can use those figures to negotiate your income. But what I also noticed is as I worked in various practices, I started to notice how much money everybody was leaking. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by leaking? I found that a lot of veterinarians leak a lot of money in practice. And this is discounting, this is undercharging, or this is not charging at all. And this happens for various reasons. It can be we're uncomfortable discussing money. It can be you're tired, you haven't had lunch, it's a really busy day, and you just forget. And look, that still happens to me in really busy days in practice. It could be we just don't have time. It is so busy and you just don't have time because you're fitting in all these extra consults. And sometimes it can be confusion. You don't actually know what the appropriate charge is, and that's how charges get missed. Guilt is another big one. That's how things get discounted or undercharged. And sometimes it's just not being aware of how much time things are taking you. So what I did is I asked a lot of veterinarians a long time ago what their biggest frustration in practice was. And I found that there were 3 key ones. One of them was income. So I started to think about why are veterinarians not being paid what they want to be paid? And it's for a number of reasons, and that's what helped me create the Income Accelerator program. So first, we focus on your confidence and your value and your worth. Because I find a lot of the time we devalue what we do. We don't recognize how valuable we are in practice. We forget to translate what we know into value for clients. Next, I talk about communication. And communication is key. And look, I thought I was a fantastic communicator until I learnt more and I recognised I was communicating okay, but I could have been so much better. So I talk about the difference in communication styles. I just break down a conversation and I get you to realise just because you're talking doesn't mean that person is understanding, and how can you check in? Then I talk about building strong client relationships. And that is really important because you want to make recommendations and you want clients to take your recommendations. And I remember being so frustrated when I first started in practice because I was making recommendations but clients weren't following them. And that was for a number of reasons. For one, I was lacking confidence. I wasn't clear in my communication and clients were still learning to trust me. So that is the first 3 main parts of the course. Building your confidence, valuing your worth, knowing what you're good at. Then communication, building strong client relationships. I also focus on clients are different. Not everybody is the same. So you need to bring a different style depending on the type of client that you're working with. And if you mismatch those styles, you won't connect or build rapport with that client and they won't follow your recommendations. And then at the end, I talk about commerce, I talk about business, and I want you to understand why veterinary business costs what it costs and why you need to earn the certain amount of money that you need to earn, the money that you turn over, that you generate. Then we look at what are you worth, how do you negotiate your salary, how do you discuss estimates with clients. Now that's one whole section of the course. Another section is I go through each area of practice in detail. We start at the consult, then we look at your lab, then we look at x-ray and ultrasound, then we look at hospital, and then we look at surgery. And I go through the common areas that I find either discounted, undercharged, and where you're significantly leaking money. Now I have estimated, and this is a generalization I know, but I estimated that I believe that veterinarians are leaking about $100,000 in turnover each year. And it's unintentional, like I said. So if you do the 5 times rule, remember 5 times of your turnover should be your salary, $100,000 could be equivalent of a $20,000 pay increase. Now, it depends what this is for you. You might be quite good at charging appropriately, but I want you to start to recognize from this course where you may be unintentionally missing charges, where you may be feeling a bit guilty, therefore you're not charging appropriately. And this is not over-servicing at all. I'm not a fan of over-servicing. I do not believe in it. This is clients you're already seeing that you're forgetting to charge or you're not charging appropriately for various reasons. And then the third part of the course is we have a weekly coaching session Q&A every single week of the course. The course goes for 8 weeks, and every week we're going to have a live Q&A and coaching session where you can bring any questions to me and we will discuss them, any challenges that you have. And that's the whole point. It's a lovely, vibrant, interactive community, and we do that weekly for 8 weeks. So I would really like to see you in the program. Don't let another year go by thinking, it'll be okay, I'll work really hard and they will reward me. It doesn't happen like that. If you never ask, the answer will be no. And I get that so many people are really uncomfortable negotiating their salary. They don't even understand what they're worth in practice. And it really upsets me when I speak to people and I find out what they've been paid for the last 3 to 5 years and they haven't negotiated it. And I've found that they've been underpaid significantly because that has significant consequences. It decreases your superannuation. It decreases the money that you're bringing home every single week and fortnight and month. If you still have a student debt, it's reducing the amount you're paying on your student debt. Therefore, it takes longer to pay off. So don't let this happen and don't let this go again. I want you to join this program. I want you to come and learn these strategies. And like I said, I'm not just focusing on money. It's the reasons why we're not charging appropriately, the reasons why veterinarians are discounting, because they're not communicating effectively, they're not building strong relationships, they don't value what they do. So I'm looking at the reasons behind the discount. I'm looking at the reasons behind not having an adequate salary. And I give you the tools and strategies so in 12 months' time, you can have a different income. And that is really important because more money gives you better superannuation, more retirement benefits. It gives you more disposable income, and that could give you better CPD. It may give you a better lifestyle at home. You can have a bigger mortgage, or you can do better holidays, or you can put your kids in the school that you want to. So it's never about the money, it's about what the money gives you, and that's why I'm passionate. As a woman, as a mother, as a wife, I'm passionate about you maximising your potential and maximising your income. And these skills will serve you for the rest of your life and the rest of your career. Please join the program. It will make a massive difference in your life. I'm Natasha Wilkes. I look forward to seeing you in the program.